1.
Okay, can everybody hear me now? Perfect. Okay, so then from here, you would adjust your profile. So you click on Profile at the top, go to Profile Settings, and then it's definitely advised that you change your password upon first login to be something other than Welcome1. So
To
you can your old
continue in
password,
English, press 1.
new
Para
password.
español, presione 2.
Is that coming from me or is that somebody else? Okay.
Not sure. Are we all hearing it?
I
hear it.
only me. Okay. All right. So once you've changed your password, just hit submit and you're good
To
to go from
continue
here.
in English, press 1.
Para español, presione 2.
Strange.
Where's on the phone? Just press 4.
Okay. So we're going to actually jump from Justin's profile to Steven's because his is a little bit more complete and I can show you more of the features.
Sorry, no current meeting matches that information. Please contact the meeting leader for assistance. Goodbye.
Okay, so we're
Okay,
going to
then.
sign in. Okay, so after you've set everything up, this is what you're going to look like. It says, as of right now, the company notes are please submit all monthly expense reports before 5/26/15. So if there's something that finance wants to push down so everyone can see it, it'll populate here. You'll see these 3 boxes in the center. So my task, if you're someone who's approving expense reports, so let's say Alex will have a bunch of people's reports here that he needs to approve. Available expenses, so these are things that are available to move into your expense report where you can allocate the funds and then also attach receipts to. And then if you've created any expense reports that you're currently working on, those will appear right here. So we're in Steven's profile. We're going to create a report. So we're just going to hit this plus sign that says start a report. We're going to put the report name as his last name, underscore expense, and then underscore again in 4/21 because that's the start of this period. Under the report date over here on the right, we're going to adjust this so that it's 4/21 so those 2 dates coincide. And then we're going to leave the subledger as corporate. And that's because we're creating expense reports for a corporate card as opposed to creating it for a GM or someone who's traveling, let's say, for a new store opening. So we're going to click next, and it'll bring us into the expense report. So all of these charges here are the available charges that we can bring into the expense report. So we're just going to start with this one for, let's say, Speedway. Okay, so we're going to move the Speedway report into, or the Speedway charge into the expense report. So you have to select it and then hit move, this blue button here. So now we've moved it from the ledger and available expenses over to his actual expense report. We're going to click it and then adjust all of this information here. So expense type fuel, that's automatically entered. Transaction date is coming directly from the statement. Business purpose, we're going to say Boca GM certification. Vendor is always going to be the same as your as what's over here under the expense type. And then this pre-opening is always required, and it's for if it's for a new store opening. So since this isn't for New Jersey or for New York, we're going to leave this as no for pre-opening. And we're going to hit save. So now we've allocated those funds and we're good to go, but we're looking at these two circles here. So we see the one that has a yellow exclamation point, which is saying that there's a receipt image required. So we still have to attach the receipt to this. So to do that, we can either go back into the expense and hit attach receipt, or we can go to available receipts up here at the top. Now these receipts are in here because Steven has taken a picture of them or emailed them to his Concur account, and they're automatically sitting there waiting to be attached. If you use the Concur app on your phone and you take a picture, it should automatically connect to this charge and you wouldn't need to search for the receipt. So we're just going to find any random receipt and attach it. Oops. Hit the little green button here, and that'll attach it to the charge. And we have 2 blue circles here, which basically means that we're good to go and ready to move on to the next charge. And if you roll over it, you'll actually see an image of the receipt just to verify. So now we're going to go in and we're going to do more expenses. So to get back to where you see them, you're going to hit import expenses here up at the top. And now we're going to do a food expense. So let me scroll through here. Okay. So we have $20 in a 20.01 to going to tuck room. So we're going to select it and move it over. And we're going to say that this one is actually for a service audit. So we're going to go into that charge. Expense type, this is for, let's say that's for dinner. Business purpose, we're going to say this is for a service audit. This is not for pre-opening. And we're going to save it. And then we need to actually charge so that it's going to tuck room as opposed to being charged to corporate. So we're going to go back in there. And there's this little button towards the right that says allocate. We'll let it stop refreshing. Okay, so we're going to hit this allocate button. And on this screen here where it says location, we're going to adjust this because right now it says home office. We're going to adjust it so that it says Houston, Texas. And then under cost center, we want this to always be the 000 general. So we're going to select that and hit save. And now, as opposed to the corporate office being charged, we're now charging Houston for the service audit that Stephen had gone out there and done. So we're going to save that. Whoops, didn't attach a receipt, so let me go back and do that. I'm just pulling any random receipt at this point in time, but obviously you'll be attaching the correct ones. I'm doing this so that we can make sure that we don't have any error messages showing up over here. We're going to import expenses again, and now we're going to do a hotel charge just because it's a little bit different than these other ones. So I'm going to go into Embassy Suites in Boca Raton for $105.56. I'm going to move that over. And we're going to say that this is actually someone going over there to help out. Let's say Frank is on vacation and we sent someone over there. So business purpose. Okay, so we're saying I went over there for management help. This is not for pre-opening. And we're going to say that this was booked within 14 days. So now we need to leave a comment. Okay, so emergency GM leave. Ooh, perfect. So now we're going to allocate that. And this is being charged to Meisner Park. So we're going to adjust our location to Meisner. And our cost center is always going to be 0 within this, or the 000 is general. Save. Okay, so it's giving me an error message, so we're going to be done here. Let me go back in and figure out what the problem is. Okay, so we have a red exclamation point here, which means that there's something wrong with this charge, and that's because I actually didn't allocate the nightly lodging expenses. So when you're booking a hotel room or when you're staying in a hotel, it's basically asking for a nightly breakdown of how much the room charge and taxes are. So we're going to go to this nightly lodging expenses right next to the expense, so it's a tab. And we're going to say that this was for 1 night. So you would go right directly off of the receipt and say how many nights this is. Whoops, let me adjust that one. So we're going to say it's from the 22nd to the 23rd. It'll automatically calculate the number of nights. And then you would put the room rate in there. So you take the room rate for whatever it's saying. I'm sorry, you would take the total and divide it by however many nights. So a room rate is $105.56. And then we want to check this little box that says combine room rate and taxes into a single entry. That way we don't have to enter things a bunch of times. So we're going to save the itemizations. And it got rid of that red exclamation point. Now the only one we have is that we have to attach a receipt. So we're going to pull one from Stephen's list of receipts here. Did it go over?
Hey, Amanda, I don't want to interrupt, so let me know when you have a second. I do have a question about hotel expenses. When you
Okay,
can.
you can go ahead and ask. I'm just attaching this receipt here.
Okay. An example, when Jim stays at like a hotel in, let's say, Westwood for a couple of days, he also will charge his food to the room. And I know that accounting likes me to break out the lodging and the food on two separate lines, but it's all going to be charged on one hotel bill. So how would I go about doing that? I just wanted to break that down really quick.
Okay, Gigi, is that what we were doing previously?
Yeah, so you need to pick an example. I was going to ask you to do that next.
Sure.
So that you have just pick a larger hotel bill, pull out the, the room charges, and then do the itemization for the food separate.
Okay, so we'll say it's this one.
And that should answer. That was Rebecca, right? Rebecca, was that you?
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Oops. Okay, so we'll adjust this. Astronomical room rate, but we're going to roll with it. We're going to check that button there. We're going to save it to see where we're at. So you would break these charges out according to what the actual hotel bill says.
Right. So, Rebecca, what you'd have to do is there is a little bit of a calculation required. So you would take all the hotel charges and take the meals off the bottom of the line, and then whatever you're left with, then divide that out by the amount of nights, and then you'll have the room rate, including taxes and anything else they charge that's mandatory. Then, so now, Mandy, you want to hold up here?
Yep.
So then she's going to put in meals, and Mandy will show you how you do that separate from the itemization of the hotel. So you finished the hotel itemization first. You did that, right?
Yes, I did. So we're saying that we spent $1699.95 on the hotel in total for room charges.
And the remaining is $93.35, which we're going to say is one meal that Jim had.
Okay, so we're going to say that that was dinner. And we're going to say $93.95. And we're going to save those itemizations. Okay, so now that broke that out nightly.
Yeah, you were supposed to save it first, Mandy, and then go back in. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So let me just delete these random ones out of here. Okay. So we have our hotel charges for the 7 nights. We have dinner in there for the $93.35. So I'm going to go back in here. It says it's missing city of purchase, so we're going to say this is, let's just say it's Boca. Remaining, okay, so on here it's giving us a variance of 60 cents. So I'm going to save this and adjust the dinner so that it goes down.
Hey, Gigi, this is Anthony. Should we add all the taxes that it has to do with the hotel, everything there? So we have to calculate and also the dinner?
You mean for the breakout of the room rate?
Yes, so we have to take in consideration all the room taxes and all that, yeah?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the way it has to be done, yes. So we don't want you to have to sit there and break out the taxes. We just add the taxes, and if there's any other mandatory facility charge or something like that, just add that into the room rate, so you don't have to break it out. Yeah.
Okay, so I just get that quantity down in the bottom of the invoice and just add it to the room. Okay, cool.
Yep.
That is giving me a hard time. Okay, so we're going to save that. Hopefully that actually matches up now because of rounding it's giving me a hard time. Okay, so if we look at our hotel charge here, everything's been broken out. We have our dinner in there. But let's say that Jim actually went to dinner with Jim Nowicki, so we can break that out. So when you go into that itemized charge, it says attendees here down at the bottom. We're going to add a new attendee. And since this is Stephen, we'll just add Jim Lee. So you'll put their title, the company, and then you would save. And then it'll break it down between the two of them, and it'll take care of the rounding too. So we're going to save those charges. And then the last thing we need to do is just attach the receipt for this entire charge. I'm going to go back into available receipts and just upload one of these. So the system it's pretty easy to work with. Your biggest challenge is just going to be to keep up with it throughout the course of the month so that you don't have a 4-hour expense report at the end of the month. So if you're taking pictures of receipts and sending the receipts via email, you'll actually take care of a lot of the time that it takes to go back and forth. The last thing I want to show you is how to, because there's times when we're missing receipts and we know that it happens even though we don't want it to happen. I'm going to go into this Embassy Suites for $5.30 and we're going to say that we're missing this receipt. So we're going to move it over. We're going to select it and we're going to go up here to receipts. And you're going to say missing receipt affidavit. So basically this is you signing off on it saying, yes, I'm aware that I don't have the receipt. This is going to create the sheet so that you no longer have this error message here. Oops, it's going to ask if it's pre-opening. We're going to say no. Bad example for that one. Because it's asking me to itemize. And save the itemizations. Oh man. So Gigi, it's recognizing automatically that it's a hotel even though this is a food charge. Did I just do that correctly? Under nightly lodging expenses.
Yeah, I think that what you needed to do, you shouldn't go under nightly lodging, you should go under just the expense, I believe. And just enter it that way. So it's just other.
Okay. Got it.
It's kind of an odd thing. We're going to have to double check into that.
Okay. All right. So now look here at the bottom. We have our total amount $1948.96 and our total requested is $1948.96. So these two are matching, basically saying that the expenses in my report total this much and I've itemized this much. And those totals should match your credit card statement that Gigi will send through at the end of each month. So if these three numbers match between your total amount, your total requested, and your statement amount, you're ready to go ahead and submit your report. So in the top right-hand corner here, we're going to hit Submit Report. And if there's any error message, it'll pop up and it'll say you can't submit it, but we're going to go ahead, since we're ready to go, we're going to accept and submit. And you'll get a pop-up saying, okay, so your approver is Alex Reed, this is how much your report is, and this is how much the company should be paid out, the company is paying with your corporate visa. So we're going to close out from here. And it'll automatically go back to your home screen, and it's saying, okay, you submitted this report for 1948.96, and we're still waiting for approval. So let's say that we actually found that receipt for the one for the extended stay, whatever charge it was, I can't remember. But we found that receipt for the Embassy Suites for $5.30. So we can actually go back into the report and recall it and say yes. And then you can adjust anything that you need to in here. So if we had found this receipt, you can click on it and then click on available receipts, and you're able to pull wherever it is that you just pulled it from. So it's asking me, are you sure that you want to change the receipt that you have attached to it? I said yes. Oh, and it's moving slow on me. And then you can go ahead and submit the report again or do whatever you were requesting to do. So a couple of things I wanted to go back over just so you can get an idea. I'm going to go back to import expenses. So I don't have access to Monty's account, but what he's been doing is using the Concur app as soon as he has a paper receipt in his hand, so he actually doesn't have to keep track of those receipts as closely as he did before. Because once he scans them in, they actually will automatically upload to match whatever receipts or whatever charge has been accrued by the Bank of America card. So that's actually a really cool feature. Like I said, I don't have access to his account, and if I did, I'd show you. But aside from that, that's really kind of the main overview of everything. Does anyone have any questions?
No.
Okay, Gigi, do you have anything to add, or is there anything else I should go through?
I don't think so. I think you covered the gist of it. You know, I know it's a lot of information for everybody to kind of see as quickly as it was done, and you know, I think the best thing is to sign in, change your password, start playing with it. Myself, Jim, and Trish, you know, are around for questions, and Mandy's gonna circulate the PowerPoint, and in the PowerPoint, the Expense It app at the very end, it'll give you the details on the application that you should upload to your phone so that you can be able to take pictures and upload those receipts, because that's really handy. It's going to be right there, so it'll really be helpful and save you a lot of time for those of you that are traveling a lot. Then the other thing is, you know, next week will be the cycle ends on the card on the 22nd. So come the 23rd, the goal is that those statements will all be available in our system here, and I'll be sending out those statements or my team will also, to the card holders. And then hopefully by then you've played in the system a little bit and just have some finishing stuff to do so that you'll be able to turn in the reports by the end of, you know, next week. But feel free to ask any questions. You know, I'm here to help also.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and send out this guide. If anyone has any other questions, feel free to just go ahead and shoot an email. But thank you all so much for your time. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Mandy.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.